Welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. Hope you're having a good day or night. Uh, I had a particular event come up in California, a city called Vacaville. What can we tell you about Vacaville? Vacaville, California. Vacaville is a city. Let's see. It's a city that's about 35 miles from Sacramento, on the edge of Sacramento Valley in Northern California. It's named after Juan Manuel Vaca. Now, vaca in Portuguese means cow, but I don't know if that's what it means. As of the 2020 census, which is about 6 years ago, there was 102,000 people in this city. And there was an Indian tribe there before called the Patwin. Let's see. Okay, so anyway, I've heard about it all my life. We used to, it's a very, I've heard of the town. Here, let me show you a picture of it. Show you a picture. Beautiful, beautiful California town. Wow, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's what California is. The rolling hills is so beautiful. So, so that's the town we're talking about today. And there's plans. Hello, Andrew Martin. God bless you, New Zealand. Well, there's plans in this town. They have a mosque on a street corner, and they want to expand this mosque greatly. And some people are saying, no, thanks, we don't want it. And so it's kind of interesting to watch how the media is portraying some of these people. First of all, let's look at the exactly what's happening. Here's the mosque right now, the way it looks. Okay, that's a pretty big structure, and it's pretty. You know exactly what that is, and that's the top dude at this mosque. And when I saw it, I thought it was another mosque, because there's another mosque I know that looks like that kind of. It's something that you just can't ignore. You see that, that's making quite a strong statement about Islam and the presence of Islam in your town. And then, that's a beautiful building. Look at that. It's going to be pretty soon, if they're not already, where they're going to be doing the call to prayer. The way they'll start it is they'll do it only on Ramadan, 1 week. And then slowly they're going to start saying just on Fridays. And then they're going to say just 5 times on Friday. And then they say, we should just have it just once a day at least. And then they're going to want, no, let's have it 5 times a day. And it creeps in little by little. It starts out, this is how New York City Mayor Adams, he allowed the call to prayer during Ramadan. And now they're wanting it. Now that they've got Ramadan Mandani. So, but some people actually stood up and said, nope, we don't want this. What they're wanting to do is to expand it. So let's go ahead and read it. It says, Californians erupt over plans for a huge expansion of mosque. Not happening here. The $1.5 million mosque expansion project is said to be self-funded and would increase prayer space fivefold. This would be like a mega mosque. Okay. But people are standing up to it, surprisingly. So let's just see what happened. A neighborhood has erupted at plans to massively expand a small mosque that will see its capacity increase fivefold. Around 300 furious locals packed a city neighborhood meeting to reject the proposal for the Vacaville site, turning what was supposed to be a routine feedback session into a boisterous stand against the project. It's not going to happen here, one older man shouted to the throng of people gathered at the McBride Senior Center on March 18th, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. Other locals called for further studies, with one community member saying, we do need to do a traffic impact study. We need to do an environmental impact study on noise ordinance that's going to affect the community. How does this fit with the Vacaville master plan? Okay, so they're trying, this right here is the Vacaville Islamic Center. They want, okay, so this is the way it is now. And they want to turn it into this huge 6,600 square feet complex. So they want to turn it into that picture that I showed you. Look at it. It looks like a house now, just a house. Here, this is what it's going to look like. Dang, that's a lot of money. Where do they get that money? The Vacaville Islamic Center wants to tear down the modest 1,200 square foot converted house on Bush Street that has served the Northern California community since 1997 and replace it with a 6,600 square foot, 3-story mosque complex with a welcome lobby, a a courtyard, 2 prayer halls, and 37 parking spaces, and topped with a 55-foot dome and a 65-foot minaret tower. Wow. This is what they want to do. This little town. The tower is over 60 feet tall. There's nothing compatible with 60 feet and higher in that same area, another resident said during the meetings. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. If approved, the new mosque will feature a 65-foot minaret. The $1.5 million expansion project is set to be self-funded and would increase prayer space fivefold to accommodate what mosque leaders call a growing Muslim population drawn to Solano County, which is more affordable than surrounding areas in Northern California. But at the March meeting, organized by city officials to hear concerns about traffic, noise, zoning regulations, and how the towering Islamic architecture would fit into the historic downtown Vacaville, the message from the crowd was loud and unmistakable. Not here. Hundreds of residents jammed the senior center with public comment boiling over. Anti-expansion activists circulated flyers comparing Islam to the Antichrist. Islam is Antichrist. One woman wielded pages of Google search results related to Islamic terrorism. This is the guy who's in charge of this. Another attendee turned toward a woman wearing hijabs in the front few rows and said, if any one of these were to take off their headscarf, their husbands would beat them to death, drawing gasps from the women and applause from other parts of the room. At one point during the meeting, police reportedly had to step in to break up a physical scuffle Dang, these guys really go to town. City moderators tried to steer the discussion back to matters like required environmental review and traffic study rather than the flashpoint of religion. We're trying to handle this project in a manner that is respectful of the community that's proposing it, as well as to the community of Vacaville. And it's like we would do with any other church or religious use, said Aaron Morris. Okay. Mosque chairman Sayed Karimi responded to the debate. We can be patient. All good things take time. Very Islamic. The project's architect, Robert Caesar, who has designed religious buildings for decades, said it is so unfortunate that the expansion plan has been met with negativity from locals, saying that what's going on in the world right now with all this hate against different religious groups has directly coincided with when this project is trying to take the next step. I don't know. I mean, this guy Robert Caesar is criticizing the local community that's working there. Really? You want to go build a building in their fort? You want to foist this on them and then go criticize them too? Vacaville activist Hassan Sabag agreed during the meeting. The whole town seemed to be on edge, adding, "You just got the feeling that something bad is going to." Yeah, that bad thing is the mosque. That is the bad thing. After the environmental assessment and traffic study is completed, the Planning Commission will hold another public meeting to vote on approving the project. Specific figures for the number of Muslims in the small city are not available, but there are around 250,000 in the wider Bay Area. Vacaville has a population of 103,000, while there are around 7.7 million living in the Bay Area. So they want to turn Vacaville into a Medina or a Mecca for Northern California. So it's not even for the residents. They're doing this for the whole of Northern California. Interesting, but yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm kind of interested to see. I think it's interesting to see how the San Francisco newspaper responds to this. Of course, they're going to. You know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to read it because you have to have a subscription to the San Francisco Chronicle in order to see it. But I will tell you what they said is that this project is revealing the Islamophobia in the town. It's revealing the Islamophobia in the town from all these atheistic reporters over at the San Francisco Chronicle. They just want to foist this on the people of Vacaville, force them to accept it whether they want it or not. And it's an evil thing that's going to bring wicked spirits to Vacaville. But the atheistic newspaper writers don't care about that. Let me just see. Okay. Let's see if we can see some of these. I don't know if I could show you some of these. But it's nice to see the people standing up and saying, we don't want this. This is the MSN. It says, plans to expand Islamic Center in California is meeting with resistance and bigotry from some in the community. It's bigotry. Okay. the need for larger, more Robert Cesar. Yeah. So he wants to come and force this down the throats of the people of Vacaville, Robert Cesar. Some residents want to see the plans for the mosque scaled down or even eliminated altogether. Why don't they send it to a bigger city where it doesn't affect? I mean, that's a tiny town. Islam has no place in America, Matthew said. Other residents echoed the sentiments. The history of Islam is filled with discord, destruction, one person said. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, anti-Muslim activists also handed out white sheets of paper comparing Islam to the Antichrist. The Islamophobic response to the mosque proposal has disappointed and surprised longtime Muslim residents in Vacaville. Abid Ahmed, who told the publication that the meeting was worse than he ever imagined. I really love Vacaville. Well, then why do you want to foist that big monstrosity on them? Which is what made all those Islamophobic comments hurt. You can't help but kind of wonder, does the community I love actually hate me? I just never really, well, they just don't want you to foist your religion on their kids, to force that down their throat. Ahmed used to work for the Vacaville Parks and Recreation and held community meetings at the center before. It's so strange to get attacked for what you believe in a room where you'd make a lot of fond memories. Hopefully we can use this situation to make our community better. Scott Baig told Fox 40 that the Muslim community in Vacaville just wants a place to come together and worship. They don't want to do Sharia law. We're not here to do outlandish things like impose Sharia law and all these other things you see on TV. Right. We're just normal people. Right. Pro-Asian community supported, yeah. This tiny little town, they want to build that huge Islamic center in it. I don't know. But it's like, wow. It's one step, and then they're going to want to play their little music. They're going to want to play their music. And so anyway, but the Californians, some of these people are standing up to it. I don't know if that is going to be able to withstand the pressure, the public pressure that Islam can bring to bear with, especially in California. And so I just thought that was an interesting story about what's going on here. Let's see, KCRA. Let's see if this guy has some insight into this. "300 Californians pack into the..." Okay, this looks like it's the same story I just read to you. It'd be interesting to see comments, like people's comments. From Grok's analysis, the proposal is driven by local Muslim population growth seeking affordable housing. You mean they're going to all live in the mosque? Solution: spill a few gallons of pig's blood around the property to the mussies. That would contaminate the property without making it unusable. Why do they need another mosque for? They do all their praying, blocking streets. And once you have the mosque, then you go out into the streets and start doing that. And then once you start doing that, Vacaville's a small town. The Americans will leave and just turn it into another, Bangladesh. The Dems opened the sewer gates, now it won't close. Well, Yeah. I hate to say it, but I get the feeling that this thing is gonna. There's some bribery going on, and there's a lot of money involved in this, and so I kind of get the feeling this thing's going to happen, unfortunately. And you know, that's a stronghold. Like they wanted to build the mosque on, kind of their triumphal mosque over on the 9/11, where the 9/11 attacks happened. And CNN, of course, was for it. Of course, anything that's anti-Christian, CNN supports. So, and so let me see if there's anything else about this we could look at. See if there's some. Is this today? Neighbors urge Los Gatos to maintain mosque zoning for worship. Residents raise concern over noise and traffic, but mosque supporters say the facility has been a good neighbor. Okay, boy, to expand operating hours for their mosque to better align with official prayer times. Neighbors raise concern over noise, traffic, urging the commission to claim the project could harm the environment. Supporters of the mosque stress their concerns had nothing to do with religion, while some online comments were more hostile. Okay. See, they're just foisting this. The Los Gatos Islamic Center, formerly a Jehovah's Witness church, is seeking to extend hours of operation. Neighbors have raised concerns about increased noise and traffic, with one resident describing the stream of vehicles as a water drip torture treatment. However, a noise study conducted by the mosque, of course, a study conducted by the mosque said there would be no effect on the city's noise standards. Right. Some online expressing anti-Muslim sentiments. Its role as a community center. In the end, the commission voted to continue the hearing to allow the mosque and neighbors to pursue mediation. In other words, they're going to force it on the people. They're going to force it on the people. Okay, so sorry, Los Gatos. That's another town. So you got these things going on all over the place, and I know it starts out really nicely and everything. Of course, this is going to show how evil Christians are. It says they thought the Bay Area was welcoming. Then they tried to expand their mosque. Abed Ahmed felt his stomach tighten last month as he watched a brief video clip on his iPhone of a middle-aged white man shouting at women in scarves, "You need to hurry," read the accompanying text from his older sisters who had witnessed that scene at the meeting. For several days, Facebook announcements about a neighborhood meeting to discuss the proposed expansion of Vacaville's only mosque had drawn hateful comments decrying supposed dangers of Islam. Now, while weaving through traffic, Interstate 80, he sped to a meeting from his office in Concord. He feared what he was about to face. It would end up being the worst than I had imagined. Okay. See, by the Chronicle, anti-Muslim activists handed out white papers. Yeah, this is pretty much the same. They were there because the Islamic Center is outgrowing its house built by seeking city approval for the self-funded $1.5 million expansion that would increase prayer space fivefold. Nowhere is immune to Islamophobia. Well, you know what? Islam is scary. Islam, unfortunately, is scary. A lot of people are scared of it. The Bay is probably the last place you'd expect to see discrimination. Yo boy, yo boy. You know, Voices of Islam in California Rethinking Sharia. This was in 2015. Mosque expansion plans divide Long Island community. So this is going on all over the place. Wow. Well, you know, 53 proposed mosques and Islamic centers that have encountered community resistance in recent years. Countering anti-Muslim opposition to mosque and Islamic. This is how countering anti-Muslim opposition to mosques and Islamic center construction. Summary. Toolkit. Toolkit offers recommendations and resources to understand, preempt, and challenge opposition to mosque and Islamic center construction. Because opposition to mosque construction can itself become an accelerant driver of increased anti-Muslim organizing and narratives in communities, these recommendations also support leaders. Okay, let me just put this up here so you guys can see it. So this is a toolkit. This is how they're preparing people to fight against the anti-mosque people. Research methodology. Findings from reviews of 42 instances of mosque opposition. The timing of mosque opposition coincided with national flashpoint, such as Park 51 mosque conflict, political cycles with heightened anti-Muslim, anti-refugee rhetoric. Despite national level media sources and political organizing that drives Islamophobic anti-Sharia sentiment, conflicts over mosques are largely local affairs. Anti-mosque sentiments fall into two categories: anti-development arguments and anti-Muslim opposition. In our analysis, 30 of the 42 instances showed explicitly anti-Muslim sentiments. It should be noted that anti-development arguments may also mask anti-Muslim opposition. Well, recommendations. Build strong neighborhood relationships with businesses, residents, civic associations surrounding the mosque, and establish trust and channels of communication. Educate community members about mosque opposition strategies. Familiarize yourself with the tactics. Preempt anticipated legal obstacles by selecting a parcel of land that does not require rezoning for mosque use. Assemble a strong team of experts from within and outside the Muslim community to undertake appropriate acquisition. Honor promises made to neighbors regarding land use, noise, and safety. Right. Till you start going out on the streets with your bullhorns. Develop a concrete plan for addressing future grievances. Setting norms. Depicting opposition is more prevalent than it is. Yeah. Let's see that t-shirt. No mosque at ground zero. All of this is a means of deception to bring in the demonic. Yeah, so this is a big thing, man. It's happening all over. It's happening all over the country, and so anyway, it's been brought here. So we'll keep an eye on Vacaville, along with Plano and Los Gatos. Is it Los Gatos or Palo Alto, wherever that other place was? Yeah, but it's good to see people standing up and saying we don't want, don't want this in our community. Don't want these huge Islamic centers to come and take over. To take over. So, because that's what's going to happen, they're gonna go Mamdani on you real soon, and then they're going to want to start praying in the middle of the streets, blocking your traffic, like they do in New York, like they do in Paris, like they do in Amsterdam, like they do everywhere in Italy. It's going to go. It's just the way Islam. That's how the cookie crumbles, and they're going to start praying in the streets, blocking your traffic. And it's not so much the word of blocking the traffic. I mean, that is an issue, but there's a demonic element to it as well, spiritual element. So anyway, that's just something I saw. So I thought we'll do a little live stream about it. And it's something you're going to start seeing more and more of as, this jihadi, uh, all this money coming in from who knows where, to build these buildings. So anyway, if we have any Muslims who'd like to come up and talk about this, we welcome you. We don't have that many people here tonight, but if any Muslims want to come up and talk about it, here's I think let me see. Let me see if I could do this again here. So, all right. Well, we'll keep an eye on Vacaville, see what's going to happen there. And that's a big mosque. That's a big mosque. I wonder what kind of mosque it is. Shiite or Sunni, Ahmadi. The Ahmadis are the kind of peaceful Muslims. The Ahmadis are. But a lot of Muslims don't really consider them Muslim. So, okay, the Vacaville Islamic Center. Copy. Let's see if there's more stuff on X about it. They don't make it like this anymore. Muslim skeptic. Okay. Garden Grove, California is building. Oh, really? The Islamic Center of Orange County is building a huge Islamic hub and its own. Prove exactly why this. Wow. I think I know this place. They're going to turn it into a Medina. I bet you it's. Wow, look at the size of this thing. Don't tell me they're not going to have a education center in there. Islamic Society of Orange County. Dang. Plan to expand Islamic Center for a growing Muslim community, revealed simmering tensions in the Bay Area. Islamization of California. Supervisor Vicente Sarmiento is in charge. He's getting a lot of money, I bet. I bet he's getting a lot of money. This Bolivian-born Democrat. He's orchestrating it. Yeah. Is going to be serving 10,000 Muslims. Incredibly diverse community, including a vibrant Muslim community. While they attack Christmas displays and center Christianity, Sarmiento rolls out the red carpet. That's what's destroying once red Reagan country. Wow. This is the guy right here. Look at people. Salam alaikum. Salam alaikum. Salam alaikum. Wow, this is going on everywhere, man. Look at this. It's happening in Orange County, happening in Vacaville. Don't tell me this. What's this guy saying? That means war is deception. Let's listen to this guy. Let's see what he's going to be preaching. You change evil with your hand. What are you carrying in your hand? This government. Which government? America's government? Try to sow discord between them. Muhammad taught them this. He says war is deception, so use deception. Which soldiers would this guy support? America or Persia? I'm just asking. Which soldiers would he support? Wonder who he means, who he considers evil. Oh, but yeah, where is this guy? This is what he's teaching people in Vacaville or where? This is in Philadelphia. We will subject them to eternal torture. This is what they teach at these centers. Rebels, 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 glorious steeds, call us and lead us onto paths leading to Al-Aqsa Mosque. The blood of martyrs protect us. Paradise needs real men. We will sacrifice our souls with... Dang. Islamic community in Arkansas. Community will conform to the guidelines given in the Quran. Homes planned, Islamic school, clinic and playground, 10,000 square foot mosque spa. Oh boy, yay. You know, in New York City, they have Muslim police. They have Muslim police force just for Muslims. And I don't know what they do to non-Muslims. Oh boy, yay. All right, you guys, this is some of the news of stuff that's going on. So if we have any Muslims who'd like to come up and... Oops, that's not the link. Just in case, one last time here. If anybody would like to come up and share your view of this thing. StreamYard there. If not, we will go ahead and call it a night. And thank you for being with us. Yeah, I saw this earlier today. It's going to do something about orphans. Maybe we'll do it in the next couple of days. So, well, thank you for being with us. And if you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come in my heart. Have our friend Alette here. And, you know, when you talk about... Yeah, right. When you talk about my wife, I don't have a real great desire to talk to you. No thanks. When you talk about my wife the way you do, I don't really want to talk to you. Don't want to welcome you here. Don't come here acting like you got a conscience after the stuff, the nasty stuff you said. All right, you guys. Thanks for being with us. Pray for Alauddin to be set free from his satanic religion, from the devils that are closing his mind, and that he will be delivered from his deception. Yeah, we got a friend here, and so that's why. Well, I'm not sure he's a friend. Yeah. Have you heard about Aisha? Have you heard about Aisha? Have you heard about Aisha, Muhammad's wife? How she used to have all those men come sleep at her house? Did you see those hadiths about Aisha and all those men who used to come sleep at her house? 142 men came to Aisha's house. 142 men. This sheikh right here, he's not a Christian, you can tell. He gave us the names of those 142 men who came to Aisha's house. Did you know about that? That she would have men come, and you know what happened to those men? That they would have nocturnal emissions, and then she would show them how to wipe the semen stains off of their blankets. So, no, that's Aisha, al-Mu'mineen, the mother of the believers. So, all right, you guys. Well, thank you for being with us. Pray for Alauddin. Fast to break those satanic strongholds off of him. And yeah. All right. And you guys know what I showed you guys that, would you guys like to see them again? Maybe you should. Maybe you'd like to see the hadiths about Aisha and her Hospitality zone. She has a hospitality zone according to Grok. Aisha's hospitality zone. Let's see. Um, by the way, do you know that Aisha was kind to orphans? Look what this Sahih Hadith says about Aisha. It says the disciplining of orphans was mentioned in the presence of Aisha. She said, I would beat an orphan until he submits. I would beat an orphan until he submits. And where do you think Aisha learned that? Where do you think Aisha learned to be so cruel to the orphans? Do you think she learned it from her husband? Let's see what Muhammad did to orphans. Let's see how Muhammad treated orphans. It says Anas ibn Malik reported that there was an orphan girl, and Muhammad saw the orphan girl, and he said, "Oh, it is you. You have grown young. May you not advance in years." This is the prophet of Allah. Who is this Allah? Where his messenger, the best of all creation, talks to an orphan girl like this. May you not advance in years. Is this where Aisha learned her cruelty to orphans? The slave girl returned to Sulaim weeping. Sulaim said, "Daughter, what is the matter with you?" She said, "Allah's apostle, may peace be upon him, invoked a curse upon me that I should not grow in age, and thus I would never grow in age, or," she said, "in my length of life." Muhammad did this to a little orphan girl? What the heck? What the heck? What was wrong with Muhammad? What was wrong? Zara Grace. Oh, really? If you want to show us. You're an ex-Muslim, aren't you, Zara? Yeah. Look what Aisha said. Aisha said, I would beat the orphan until he submits. Where did she learn to be so cruel? Yes, an ex-Muslim, and praise God. Praise be to God, Zara Grace. Be strengthened and keep pushing forward and speaking, and may God use you in Jesus' name. Yeah, Alaa has this sick, disgusting obsession, and yeah. So anyway, but this is what Aisha does, you guys. This is what Aisha does. Look what else Aisha does. Let's look at what else Aisha does. The al-Mu'mineen. Let's see what else Aisha does. It's a guest. Look at this. A guest came and stayed with Aisha. He stayed with Aisha. He ordered that so the guest was a he. Her house, you guys, according to Grok, was about 25 square feet. Where did he stay in this house? And why did he come to sleep at this house? Why did he come sleep? Are men allowed to sleep in Muslim women's houses? Is this something that we don't know about? Is this a Sharia provision that we don't know about? She ordered he be given a yellow blanket of hers. He had a nocturnal emission on it. And this has to be a Sahih Hadith for the world to know about it. He had a nocturnal emission on it. and he felt too shy. He wasn't ashamed about sleeping in a woman's house, a widow's house. He wasn't ashamed about wrapping himself in her yellow blanket. He wasn't ashamed of being in her house. He wasn't ashamed of having a nocturnal emission in some woman's house. He wasn't ashamed of sleeping in the house of Muhammad's widow, but he was too shy to send it back to her, the yellow blanket, when it had traces of that emission on it. He dipped it in water and sent it to Aisha. Aisha said, "Why did you spoil our garment? It would have been sufficient for him to scrape it off with his finger. I often scraped the semen from the garment of the messenger of Allah with my finger." Okay. Here's another story. Look at Aisha, al-Mu'mineen. Muhammad said, take half your religion from the Aisha. Look what Aisha said. It says, a person stayed in the house of Aisha. When did he stay in the house of Aisha? Well, what we know is in the morning he began to wash his garment. Well, that means he stayed the night. Aisha said, in case you saw it, a drop of semen, he started washing his garment in the morning. So this might be a different story, might be somebody else. It would have served the purpose of purifying the garment if you had simply washed that spot. In case you did not see it, it would have been enough to sprinkle water around it. For when I saw that on the garment of the messenger of Allah, may peace and blessings be upon him, I simply scraped it off, and he offered prayer while putting that on. So Muhammad went to pray with this garment that had. Here's another. You guys, I hope Allah is listening. This is also insightful. This is also Sahih. It's Sahih Muslim. I stayed in the house of Aisha and had a wet dream and perceived its effect on my garment. So this isn't talking about the yellow blanket. So in the morning, I dipped both the clothes in water. This act of mine was watched by the maidservant of Aisha. So Aisha had a maidservant who was watching her guest, and he was dipping his clothes in water. So what was he wearing? If he was washing his clothes, what was he wearing? And she informed Aisha. Aisha sent a message. What prompted you to act like this with your clothes? He said, I told you, I saw in a dream that a sleeper sees. She said, did you find any mark of the fluid on your clothes? What kind of conversations do these people have? And why do they have to write this down for all posterity? What kind of people are these? That, first of all, he goes and sleeps in Aisha's house. He has a wet dream. What must he be thinking about that he had a wet dream? Were they talking about? What were they talking about? Were they talking about the dawah? She said, did you find any mark of the fluid on your clothes? Oh boy, yay. I said, no. She said, had you found anything, you should have washed it. In case I found semen on the garment of the messenger of Allah, I scraped it off with my nails. Oh boy, yay. Now, this was very well known, you guys. This is Georgian. There's another guy named Sulaiman bin Yasar. Okay. And Amir bin Maymun asked Sulaiman bin Yasir, So, by the way, Amir bin Maymun is the monkey guy, the guy who started stoning a monkey for adultery. Okay, Amir bin Maymun stoned a monkey for adultery. This is that guy of that monkey story. He asked another guy, Suleiman bin Yasser, about a garment which gets semen on it. Should I wash it off or wash the entire garment? Suleiman said, look what Suleiman said. He said, Aisha said. So everybody knew what Aisha said, or at least all these men knew. Semen used to be on the garment of the Messenger of Allah, and he would wash it off his garment. Then he would go out to pray wearing that garment, and I could see the marks left on it by washing. These are the conversations they had. I mean, Aisha said this to enough people that all these men knew about it. Suleiman bin Yasser knew about it. Amr bin Maymun knew about it. Abdullah bin Shahab al-Khulani knew about it. Al-Qama al-Aswad knew about it. Qutayy bin Sa'ad knew about it. Ishaq bin Ibrahim knew about it. Ibn Abi Aruba knew about it. Abu Mash'ar knew about it. Abu Bakr bin Abu Shayba knew about it. Mansur and Mughira. All these guys knew about this story. Dude, this is so insane. How did the mother of the believers tell all these men about these things? The mother of the faithful saw some nasal secretions. Dude. The way I think it, you know what I think? Here's another one. This is about Hassan bin Harith. He knows about it too, because he's narrated, meaning he's telling this. He says, Aisha had a guest to whom she lent a yellow wrap, this yellow blanket, you guys. I'm going to do an episode about how to best wash a yellow blanket, you guys, because this keeps coming up. I lent a yellow wrap for him to sleep in. He had a wet dream. She's telling other people about someone who slept in her house. First of all, is he allowed to be sleeping in her house? And then to tell everybody he had a wet dream in her house while sleeping there. And was too embarrassed to send it to her while the traces of the wet dream were present on it. So he submerged it, washing it in water, then sent it. Aisha said, why did he ruin our garment? It would have been sufficient for him to scrape it off with his fingers. Sometimes I would scrape it off the garment of Allah's messenger with my fingers. You guys, I think this is a girl that was very badly wounded. And she didn't know that this isn't something you just tell a bunch of men. How many men have been mentioned in relationship to this story? How many men heard about it? How many men were telling other people about it so far? We read about 142 yesterday. This is the kind of discussions you have. Oh, this is important. It says, Allah's messenger forbade the sale of stallion semen. Okay, something important to know there. These are Sahih Hadiths, you guys. Yahya related from Malik, from Ismail ibn Abi Hakim. Suleiman bin Yasser, Umar ibn al-Khattab went out early in the morning to his land in Al-Ju'raf and found semen on his garment. He said, I have been tried with wet dreams since I have been entrusted with governing the people. Yay! Thank you for telling the world. He did ghusl and washed the garment of what he saw of the semen, and then prayed after the sun had risen. But yeah. Aisha said, I used to wash the semen off the clothes of the Prophet. Even then, I would notice one or more spots on them. Ishmael. Ishmael. Okay. The Prophet saw sputum on the wall of the mosque in the direction of Qibla and scraped it off with the gravel. Then he forbade spitting in front of or on the right, but allowed it on the one's left or under one's left foot. Mm. The Prophet forbade the sale of what is in the womb of the she-camel. Okay. Okay. So, you guys, there you have it. Should remain private, obviously not in Islam. You know what I think it is that she was so young when Muhammad married her. She was 6 years old when he married her. And she didn't know. She didn't know what's appropriate to talk about, what's not appropriate. 6-year-old girl who's having these experiences, 9-year-old girl who's having these experiences of having to clean the Prophet's clothes. So I think she just didn't know social etiquette. She was just she was a little girl. Kids say the darndest things. So, okay, you guys. Well, shoot. This kind of went in a direction I wasn't expecting. But you got to be prepared for all eventualities. God bless you, Zara Grace, and God continue to use you. Please continue using your voice to spread the gospel and expose the darkness of Islam, but mostly to lift up the Lord Jesus Christ. And thank you, everybody, for, she's following the example of Muhammad, her abuser. That's right. She's doing exactly same way with the orphans, Bom dia para todos, Victor Rodriguez. Dios te bendiga. God bless you. All right, you guys. Well, shoot. We made it to an hour. I didn't expect we were going to, but things happen. So, all right. Again, if you haven't done it, all kidding and aside and everything, if you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. We love you, but much more importantly, he loves you. Have a wonderful night. Thanks for being with us.